Hello and welcome to today's content, which will be focused on Charlotte since she has been released. And yeah, without further ado, let's begin. For the abilities, Charlotte's going to be the Knight of the Sacred Shield. That is going to be her main job. So as a base unit, she's going to get Attract Wall, Stunning Edge, Noble Armor, Lightning Strike, and Swift Punishment. Her limit break is going to be Protector's Holy Judgment. As you can see here, her AoE / long range abilities are going to be Swift Punishment and her limit break. Specifically for EX upgrades, she's gonna get Glorious Armor. This changes from Noble Armor into Glorious Armor, where she also not only gets the defense and spirit from the original version, she also gets Protect and Shell, which is insanely good for just mitigating damage in general. From here, also her EX upgrade ability, like job level 25, she's gonna get Grand Shell Wall, which is gonna increase all attack resistance by 8% for 3 turns for herself and allies. This is actually insanely good because it's all attack resistance, meaning it can stack with other things that are not quote-unquote all. So this is going to be very nice to have if you're able to utilize it very carefully and well. If you do have it and then she ends up never actually even going to the front line or generating hate, that's going to be an issue, but that's up to the AI and how you build up your team. For her sub-job, Knight of the Sacred Shield, she's going to get Hollowed Aegis Blessing, which is basically kind of like Thunder's protection from Sakura, but a little bit different in that instead of light, it has water. But it's still going to increase the resistance for lightning, water, and dark for this one in particular. She also is going to get Paralyzing Blade, which has a chance of paralysis, not bad. She does have the Monk sub-job, where she's going to get all the abilities pretty much, like Store, Pummel, Terra Slash, Surge Strike. Nothing is gonna hit too hard outside of just only Terra Slash, but I mean it's something I guess for different attack type. For her Thief sub-job, Steel Vision, Snipe Dagger, Steel, Shadowcast, Steel Time, Sneak Attack. Unfortunately, she does not have Steel Heart here, and if she did, she would definitely be rated much higher in my opinion, because that is crazy if she had Steel Heart. But she doesn't, so unfortunately she is limited to those abilities. For her resistances and passives, she is at a 10% / -10% to pierce, -5% to strike, 10% to missile, and 20% to magic. As you can see here, she's going to be focused on mostly tanking magic attack type damage. She has 0% AoE, 0% single target, so you have to watch out for those if they have a lot of that. She's not going to be flexible in that situation. With her level 120 master ability included, she has a base of 0 defense unfortunately. However, she has a base of 22 spirit, which is very high. She has resistances to statuses. It's going to be 50% to Berserk and Toad. Berserk being very, very good, especially against King Mont, which is pretty meta, and people just going for the Berserk cheese if they wanted to try and just win the game from limit breaking. And she has 10% to paralysis, which is fine. As you can see here, however, she is susceptible to stop and disable, which are kind of important. For her master ability, she's going to be 10% to she's gonna have the mono element lightning one, and then she's gonna get spirit 10 for herself, and her HP increases by 5% for herself as well. From here, her movement and mobility is gonna be 3 move, 1 jump, and she is a 90 cost. For passives, she's gonna get Noble Heart, which I would highly recommend because it's gonna not only increase her HP even further, also gives her a good amount of spirit by 12. From here, it's gonna be kind of up to what you want. Thief Lore here is going to give you move 4, so it's going to be very nice to have, and it can make her very fast as well with her agility. She already has decent fast agility. With Thief's Lore, she can get very fast. With the HP up level 1, this is mostly because she does not have any physical damage tankiness, just innately outside of her resistances. Getting more base HP because she has a decent amount of HP already is going to be one way to do it. Outside of that, we do have Protector's Pride, which is going to increase the defense and spirit debuff resistance by 50% for herself. Keep in mind, if she uses her other ability to basically raise her defense and spirit debuff resistance by 50%, and you use this passive, this means you cannot be defense and spirit imperiled or debuffed. You can still be penetrated by defense penetration, spirit penetration. However, if they do not have that and they rely on a defense down or a spirit down ability, they will not be able to do so. So this would be actually very good. I should actually put it in flex and niche, but I do have to emphasize that if you have 100% resistance to defense and spirit debuffs, it's kind of good. For niche and flex, obviously Strike Master is gonna give her more damage for her strike attacks. She doesn't have very high attack for like, especially compared to DPS, as well as like doesn't have very strong multipliers on her monk sub job. So this is very niche and flex. The acquired AP up is actually something not too bad, only because she has bad AP generation. However, with this, it could help her a little bit to get more AP. But it really depends on what you want her to do. Overall, I do believe the other passives are a bit more usable or more practical. For her reaction ability, she's going to have General's Determination, which is basically going to be like, what is it? Warrior Spirit or something? I forgot, from Warrior Light, where every time he gets hit. Sorry, not got. He gets hit. He increases his defense. This is basically the other portion of it, and it has a chance to proc at 30%, and it increases her spirit by 10 for 3 turns. This is only for magical damage, so keep that in mind. Outside of that, Fist Counter is going to be there, and then Quick Action. If you do not use a Binding Resolve, which is going to be the EX upgrade of General's Determination, you should probably use Quick Action, in my opinion. Fist Counter is just kind of so-so. Like as I said earlier, she's not really going to be there for damage in particular. So here we are at Charlotte's rating out of 5. Honestly, I really debated giving her a 4.5 out of 5, but after careful thought, and because we have a little bit different meta, well, not different meta, but like a little bit different units for global, I gave her a 4 out of 5 overall. Meaning, I do believe she's a very strong unit and she is worth pulling for, but she is not a must pull. For her pros, she's able to have a base of 34 spirit with her passive earlier that we saw. I believe it was Noble Heart. With that, she can get 34 base spirit. Very, very good. She's able to completely nullify defense and spirit debuffs on herself with the passive and ability combo. She's able to grant herself protect and shell along with regen and her defense and spirit self buffs. This is very, very nice. This is basically like Divine Shelter from Whisper, but it's even better, unfortunately, because she also gains what is it, the defense and spirit. I'm not sure if Whisper got it on hers, but basically Charlotte's just gonna be way better in most of that aspect. Her limit break is insanely strong on the first initiation, because not only does it give her like sentinel like defenses, like the high defense and spirit for 1 turn, it also significantly lowers the attack and magic of enemies that it hits, so it's gonna be very nice to have. She does have a Lightning Imperil at 38%, very, very strong. She's able to generate hate with her Attract Wall. She's extremely tanky against magic users in general. Not only does she have good resistances in general against magic attack types and just magic damage in general, she has high spirit, which is very, very important. She has very high agility, and she can go faster with her passive, like the Thief Lore. She's able to get 4 move as well, which is pretty significant as a tank if it allows them to like get into position more easily. Most of her abilities are going to be close range and single target outside of her limit break mostly, and her one other ability I showed earlier that is a little bit costly on AP. Her party buffs, she does have party buffs and it can be very, very effective for survivability, but keep in mind, if you do use those, she does not have innate starting hate, so if she does not get Attract Wall out, she does not even tank, unfortunately, so you have to be wary of that. She does have access to 2 different attack types because of her Slash and Strike, and she's able to completely nullify reaction abilities with one of her own abilities, which is very, very helpful. This means that if you do hit like a Yuna or something so that she doesn't Aeon Bond, this will significantly like raise your chances of winning in that situation. Now look at the cons. She has many TP abilities that she should use and have to kind of use for her AP generation, but they do not generate a lot of AP. Most of them are under like 30 TP cost. It's kind of sad. As I said, she has many TP abilities to use, but if Attract Wall is not used, there is no hate generation. She's just walking around just being a very beefy unit tank frontline that's not even going to be tanking damage because she doesn't have hate generation. Make sure she uses Attract Wall for that hate generation. Outside of buffs, she has very, very poor damage to physical damage tanking capabilities. She does get the defense buff from her one ability as well as protect. However, outside of that, she is basically a sitting duck. They don't even need to have high like defense penetration or anything like that. They can just hit her with it and just do guild damage in general. So she has poor physical damage tanking capabilities. Obviously, we can argue, and I do agree, that she has better tanking capabilities compared to Rain in physical damage because of her protect and a little bit defense buff, but they're both just not going to be good enough for physical damage. You might as well be using Kingmont for physical damage tanking in particular. She actually has high AP costs on abilities. Most of them are going to be like 26, 25 plus, some of them like being like 29 on the average. So she has to be very careful on how much AP she has and wants to use. As I said earlier, she's also vulnerable to disable and stop, two things that are very, very strong in the meta as well as just in general because of how effective it can be. She's weak to dispel because her entire kit kind of relies on her using her TP buffs for tanking and survivability. If she uses like a tracked wall and then another like huge buff for like more survivability and she gets dispelled, not only is that hate gone, most of the buff, if not all of it, is going to be gone. Like she has to be wary about dispels in particular. She also does not have any 100% hit rate abilities, and she does not have any accuracy or luck boosting alternatives, so she has to keep watch of evasive units, kind of like Zazan or like 2B. She has to be careful of those situations. If her monk sub job is not used, she will be limited to only slash damage without much penetration or like extra damage outside of like the lightning imperil. So if like, for example, someone went like Yuna, they got Siren Esper as well as Solidus equipped on, they got the Fittest Lacerna, just all for that slash resistance, Charlotte's not going to be taking her down very easily. It's going to be very difficult for her. And I mean, obviously she's not going to be there to deal damage, but I'm talking about like if she wanted to deal meaningful damage, she needs something else outside of that because she won't have even enough chip damage in general. It would have to be like a chain or something. It just would be different. She has no barrier breaks as well, which is unfortunate, and her multi-hit is locked to only her sub-job, which is going to be Pummel. And it only hits twice, not even 3 times, so she can't even break the barrier. So unfortunately, if you do have barriers against Charlotte, she really just does no damage. She's just trying to like kind of waste your time tanking overall. Also, the biggest reason why she does not get a 4.5 out of 5, and not only does Japan have Oberon and like Noctis that came out that are Earth types, for global side, we do have Zazan that's already out. So not only is he an insanely strong Earth unit and evasion, she has to really be careful about Zazan, like in our meta, because Japan doesn't have that Zazan in particular, especially at the time of Charlotte's release, but we do in global, meaning she significantly kind of is not as effective as she could have been compared to as like Japan's side. I just hope that kind of makes sense there. For her TMR chase rating, I gave it unfortunately a 2.5 out of 5. It's the Honor of Grand Shell. It's a shield type with a lot of HP at 584 and 12 spirit, very nice of defensive. But the reason why I gave it a low rating is because this is locked to only Charlotte and or main job paladins. That means only, who is it? I believe Engelbert, and only her can use it, which is good and bad. The reason why it's good is that it gives you a barrier. The Grand Shell Protection literally gives you a barrier for 3 times and gives you a good chunk of AP and a decent amount of AP generation from the ability usage overall. Like it gives you 27 total if you use it if it's maxed, which is very nice to have. However, because it's an armor slot and a TMR slot, this significantly reduces what else you can put on the unit. Like if you were gonna put on a weapon, you can at least. However, now you're kind of down to like, am I gonna be using like what accessories can you put on them to further help them? Like TMR slots are like heavily reliant, in my opinion, on what like how flexible like the TMR should be and what it can provide for you. And because this TMR is literally limited to only Charlotte and Engelbert, who they actually have better TP abilities to use, in my opinion. Like for Charlotte, I do believe she should be using her attract wall 100%. That should be the highest priority. But the other wall, I believe, was like the protect shell and the defense spirit. That should be used as well. It's very good. The barrier is obviously very good. However, if they do have a barrier break and or she doesn't get her attract wall out, the TMR, basically you only got the stats for like the HP and the spirit. It's not going to be really used as much. So that's why I gave it overall a 2.5 out of 5 rating. I just don't see enough of a benefit for it right now. So here are some example setups that can work with Charlotte. Obviously, they're not going to be like optimized or anything. I'm just putting these out for example's sake. But yeah, Cloud should be coming out soon if we're following the schedule correctly on the calendar. He should be coming out soon. Cloud would obviously use a Scorpion vision card for himself. Also gives spirit resistance, slash resistance to his team. So then now Charlotte's going to be at 30% base slash resistance. She can use Eye Gaon for herself, as well as not only providing HP because of the mono element for lightning, HP for herself and Cloud. She also gets like more damage because of the slash attack and accuracy, because they don't have well, she doesn't have 100% hit abilities. So Aigon would be very good for like not only offensive but also bulkiness overall, because she also has a good amount of HP. For Frederica could obviously use her own basically Frederica's Dream, and then specifically Coral can be used on Charlotte because it could just boost damage in general, and because she is kind of tanky, as long as she gets her buffs out, this will significantly help Frederica deal a lot of damage. And lastly, we have 9S, who can use the Astrologer Vision card for himself, not only for the damage and the AP up, but mostly the single like benefits, as well as Armor Crusher to lower defense, because neither he nor Charlotte has defense like in perils. 9S does have defense penetration from his limit break, but that's, I digress. It's the defense, the Armor Crusher will help his team much more significantly. And Aigon is going to be used once again because of the HP bonus, as well as a little bit more damage and accuracy. I know I put these two in the corner. Once Nivlu's EX comes out and Sid or Orlando's EX comes out, they could be very good contenders that can work well with Charlotte, but until it comes out, because it hasn't come out even in JP yet, we'll have to just kind of sit and wait until it does. I do believe they do have potential, but we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, basically we came to the end of the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review and analysis of Charlotte. If you do pull for her, I hope this kind of helps like you use her well, because she is still very good. I will have to input in that if you are struggling against any black robed Helena builds right now, she's significantly very effective against Helenas. But yeah, I digress. Depends up to you. And yeah, until the next video, peace out.